Primary. And in San Francisco, voters will weigh in on a controversial plan that would require drug screenings for those receiving cash assistance from the city. So Mayor London Breed put Prop F on the ballot. And while those receiving benefits would not have to prove sobriety, they would have to enroll in treatment if the city thinks it's necessary or lose the cash. The mayor says this is about reducing drug overdose deaths. A record 813 people died last year. Our Wilson Walker has more on this latest flashpoint in the city's drug crisis.
I live right here in this yellow building right here. It's a smaller place, you know, it's single rooms.
But you got a place.
Yeah, got a place, you know what I mean?
For Andrew, it has been about 10 years of homelessness punctuated with occasional housing arrangements. And he has one now. That SRO gives him an escape from the elements and eligibility for $712 a month in cash through the County Adult Assistance Program. People who are unhoused, living on the streets, they are eligible for $109.
You know, I don't take it for granted. Excuse my language, like, I appreciate every aspect of it, whether what it is, you know, it's not.
On this day, he has stepped outside of that housing to join friends who gather partly for safety in numbers because of the lethality of the drugs they are using. Andrew says he's currently making a push for treatment, and Proposition F could force him to make some decisions in that regard. F would require anyone receiving CAP benefits to be screened for substance use disorder. And if that appears to be the case, they would be required to participate in a treatment program or lose those cash payments.
Honestly, I think that would disqualify people that need help. Like, the drug screening is not the right approach for me personally, you know.
That is what's going to help us move this city forward out of what was a very challenging time.
Proposition F is the mayor's ballot measure, another proposal for responding to the ongoing opioid crisis. And reaction to the plan runs right along some very well-established fault lines in that discussion.
F is a cynical and unserious waste of resources that will materially harm very vulnerable people.
Lining up in opposition are many of the care providers San Francisco contracts with for the city's response to the drug crisis. No on F campaign director Sarah Short says it will hurt those already in trouble.
In addition, many people who are on the streets now and using drugs will simply not apply for assistance and therefore not have any access to treatment through the services system.
When folks are addicted to this poison, and it's the worst addiction that I've ever seen in my 2 decades of doing this work, it's literally killing people, over 800 people last year. When we're giving them up to $700 a month and they're addicted, and using that to purchase fentanyl that will eventually kill them, that's not improving people's lives.
So Trent Rohr heads the San Francisco Human Services Agency. He says F would not cost anyone their housing or other benefits, but the cash, he argues, deserves more scrutiny. The city estimates about 1/3 of those receiving cash assistance have substance abuse disorder, and the city has been looking for those recipients during the past year's crackdown on sidewalk drug use.
21% of the people they arrested were on CAP, were getting public assistance from the city, and of those, 43% of them, so almost half of the people who were receiving locally funded public assistance, said they lived in another city when they were arrested. They reported they lived, wherever else.
So it is the continuation of the debate over how to move people towards treatment, something San Francisco has struggled with and argued over for years now. Here is Gary McCoy of Health Right 360.
Always seems to be the default on like, we'll take care of this and we'll make a difference, is almost always some type of punitive approach that punishes people.
People will say it's punitive. People will say it's paternalistic. Well, I would argue, yeah, it is paternalistic, because right now, people who are addicted are making life decisions that aren't good for them.
Now, those receiving the money, of course, have their own questions about how F might work. And Andrew, while skeptical of the drug screening plan, says he would like to see a different kind of drug crisis triage.
I think what would help people, like in my mind, what would help people would be like, instead of a drug screening, to like profile screen, like just have like a better way to organize the people who are actually living here, because there's a lot of people out here that not even from out here, don't even live here, just come here just to just to come here and buy fentanyl and just get stuck here and just are like taking up space. Excuse me. They should find a way to screen and find out who those people are and maybe drug screen them and send them back to where they came from.
That is a conversation we will pick up another day, but F does raise the question of how much treatment is readily available for all of those in San Francisco who might need it. This proposition would pass with a simple majority vote.